since the beginning, Everett Jenkins. We about to finish the Kengan and ASHURA review, y'all. And this is going to be a bumpy ride.
Oh, man.
It's about to be, I damn near cried for what I read for the last. I just got done reading it. And I can't wait till Tim gets to Omega, Everett. I can't wait till he gets to Omega. We got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to talk about today, y'all. Like, share, subscribe, comment on the page, Just an Anime Podcast on YouTube. Check out my Twitch. I hope that actually this video connects to my Twitch and, of course, the Facebook page. So check that out. Like I said, right now, I'm working on getting a laptop. So once I get a laptop, I'll be coming out with doing the usual stuff on Thursday. Finish the Yu Yu Hakusho review with my boy Esteban and some other good stuff.
I just started watching that today.
Oh, he started watching greatness.
Well, I've talked about this before. I kept confusing it with Tenchi Muyo.
Yeah, you said that. I said, what?
I don't know. I think it's because the main characters look too much alike that I got confused. I got confused.
He's watching Yu Yu. Oh, but man, this Kengan ASHURA is about to be nuts for the rest of this series. Oh my god.
So where did we leave off?
Cosmo. We were starting off
Oma versus Cosmo.
Ended. Yeah, the coup had just ended.
Mm-hmm.
Hayama from Toyo Electric Power and Ronald and Stewie.
Yeah.
They got arrested. And, they're behind bars.
Yep.
Somewhere on the island. I don't think you really find out where until the end.
Yeah, somewhere still on the island, but the main Hayama's locked up.
Yeah.
So the coup's over, and then we get to the third round of the tournament, and we started off with Oma and Cosmo.
Well, and this is one thing that I don't know if we talked about it last time or not, but like Nogi and Chairman Matahara are talking, or Katahara, excuse me. They're talking, and Nogi kind of figures it out. He's like, you could have stopped that anytime you wanted.
Yeah. Katahara was in control the whole time.
Yeah, and I mean, this goes back to what I've been saying for, 4 episodes now. Like, you don't get to be where Katahara is without being like miles ahead of everyone else.
And like what Nogi said too, it was like he implied that Katahara manipulated Hayami into like doing the coup. Like
basically, yeah. When you really think about it.
Pretty much, he stopped. That's why old man Kure was like, you should have took care of him years ago. But I guess he let him just do his thing, and then that's what the result happened.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because it was fun. That's the thing about Katahara. Like, he'll let you get away with so much as long as you make things fun for him.
Yeah.
Because he gonna win in the end anyway.
Yeah.
He's got it all set up so that's how it's gonna work out. Doesn't he say that Katahara had moles inside of Hayama's bodyguards anyway?
Yep, pretty much, yep.
Yeah.
And then Hassad and the medicine man was working with him too. So
yep.
So the coup was dope, and we learned about the worm, which we will talk about more as we finish up with the series today. We get to Cosmo and Oma's fight.
Oh yeah,
yo, Cosmo has so much to learn, but he still did good in this match.
What really impresses me about Cosmo, and we started to see this during the coup, and we're going to see it in this fight, how quickly he can adapt to things.
Yes, Cosmo can definitely adapt.
Because now he's starting to develop the foresight, just like
kinda
like Kaneda does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's although it's not complete, it's not as perfected as Kaneda's is, but it's still like impressive for someone that young to be able to do it on the fly like that.
And the way the match started, like the transition that Cosmo and Oma were making, because they were both weak still. They're both injured from their fights, but they still had so much energy left to give to this fight.
Mm-hmm. And this was, and this goes into stuff we've been talking about how the dynamic between fighters and characters is different than in a lot of animes, where this fight starts out and Cosmo and Cosmo and Oma walk out into the arena and they look at each other and they're like, we're both really banged up. We should not be fighting.
But
and then, Cosmo offers a handshake and he's like, well, let's make it fun then, shouldn't we? And like that's something you don't regularly see, or at least I've never really seen it in animes before.
Yeah,
because usually it's like, I am the strongest, I will be the strongest, and I will defeat you no matter what. Oh,
and then they were both like, "Well, let's have some fun here." And then Jason, and then I said Jason.
What's
Jason,
really cool too is like they're really civil towards each other
yeah,
when they're talking to each other. And then something that's also really important to mention is when like almost like, oh, we're both pretty beat up. And Cosmo's like, yeah, I might be beat up, but I guarantee you I'm the strongest I've ever been right now.
yes.
So much confidence from Cos.
Well, I mean, he's young. He's
still young.
We all remember being that age that when we figured out we were good at something.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. We were all like that.
Yeah.
In some way.
And the way that fight started out, pretty much when it got to the point where Cosmo got the mount to get a hold on Oma.
Yes, because the way that fight starts is basically they're everything that Oma throws at him, he just parries away, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so what happens is when Cosmo mounts Oma, he starts intentionally letting Oma get free just to remount him, just to let him know that he's like fully in control of the situation.
And like I think the other fighters watching in the stands are all commenting on that. And I think it's Kaneda or Okubo, one of the two. They're all kind of like talking over like who's got the advantage here, and and particular character, whichever it was, is like, no, don't make any mistake. Cosmo is completely in control.
No, I think it was Takayuki Shiba. He was up there too. I think
he was up there.
I think he said that. Shiba was like, no.
You know, you may be right. Like I speed read through this.
I don't worry.
I blazed through these last like 100 chapters.
I tried to remember. I remember it. It was just like I said, I read it some earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to go back and refresh myself. I remember what happened, like a little details here and there. But then the crowd was getting shitty because fighting. He was like, "What the hell y'all doing? We didn't come here to watch this bullshit." And then one said something, and here comes Ryan. He said something.
Ryan just like casually punches him in the face.
He was like, he said, if y'all pay attention, something gonna happen. And he said, if y'all answer my question with a question, I'm gonna kill you.
Yes, I believe he does say specifically something to the degree of, if you would shut up and watch, something major is about to happen, and if you blink, you just might miss it.
And he was right, because the mount, they were just chilling, and all of a sudden, everybody thought they had no energy, and freaking Oma goes crazy trying to throw Cosmo off, but the crowd was like, where the hell did all this strength come from?
Like weren't they like super injured?
Throwing iron breakers at him too, right?
From that angle, he's from that position. Yeah, he did. This is true.
But this is one of those fights that like they are literally fighting themselves basically to stand still. I mean, because they're in their current conditions, they're both like pretty evenly matched in a lot of ways, I feel like. I think that at perfect health, I think Cosmo is not quite on Oma's level.
No.
I agree.
He's, like I said, experienced.
Yeah.
Even like Cosmo's been fighting since high school, but Oma's been fighting since he's like 7. Ever since Oma's been fighting for years.
Yeah. So this match, the way this match ended was wild to me, because like without actually seeing it in motion, I wasn't really sure how this exactly worked, but Oma uses the ultimate technique of the water form of the Nico style, which he thought he would use. Mirror of water. And Everett, maybe you can kind of more explain how that worked, because
so once just to go back a little bit, when they're like holding each other by the shoulders and they're in this deadlock, and Cosmo's talking about how painful like grappling is, and Oma goes, "Thank you, Cosmo. You just exhausted the rest of my stamina." And then it looks like Oma just like falls out of his hands. because he starts doing like protein level breakdown in his body just to give himself like a second win. And so Oma nearly breaks Cosmo in half with like this grip that he does.
Yeah.
Cosmo breaks his finger and gets him out of the lock. And then they start wrestling again, and then Cosmo's like, "This is what I was waiting for," and he uses Zone, and then Oma uses what is it? It's called like it's Mirror something.
Mirror of water.
Yeah, Mirror of Water, and basically uses his Zone against him and chokes him out with his own arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had a certain amount. Sorry, he had a certain amount of time to break it before he pretty much went unconscious.
Yeah, and we get like another little flashback of Oma with Nico when he's learning.
Yeah.
And that's what you said. He teaches him Mirror of Water, and Oma's like, I am literally never going to use this. This is stupid.
Yeah.
Moving this match.
And he uses it, yeah.
And it came in mad handy. Like the end, I felt bad. And then they showed Kaz getting choked out, but then he had all these pictures of the matches between like they showed his past with Horashi and everything, and he said, I can't lose. And then it just got silent, and you see everybody's face. You see his master's face. You see everybody's facial expression. They already knew.
One thing, and again, this is my first foray into manga. One thing I thought was really interesting is in the splash page that ends the fight. You see Cosmo is like, I have to win.
Yeah.
And then
you start seeing like the words getting flipped and stuff like that, and it's like
Blurry
you can tell he's losing consciousness.
It like fades out to kind of like the fact that he's losing consciousness. Dude, it was wild.
Brother man.
Another really like when he has Cosmo in the chokehold and Cosmo is trying to get out of it. We've never seen Oma do this. Like he starts breaking Cosmo's bones, and he's like, yeah, I know how to break bones too, Cosmo.
Oh yeah, he was breaking his bones steadily but surely. The lock was as the whole
like
was
while he was choking him out.
Man.
So that fight ends, and Oma moves on to the next round. This is something we totally glossed over. This is how Cosmo even wound up in that fight, because Nishinoji was gonna sub him out for Okubo.
Oh, this is where we get.
Yeah. We talked about that last time, right at the end, where they were gonna substitute Okubo for Cosmo. And then like they set up this sparring, and the rules greatly favored Okubo because he had the advantage in literally everything compared to Cosmo. But Okubo realizes that they basically tricked him because they just used him so Cosmo would be able to solidify his foresight more.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then we learned why Nishinoji chose Cosmo period to be his representative. They had like the seven bodyguards of the security thing, and Cosmo got picked because he didn't think Cosmo was actually he didn't think he was gonna win the tournament.
No, never did.
And not even get as far as he got. Because all these high level competitors in up here but he said he exceeded his expectations. He said, Cosmo, you can climb higher. And I felt bad for Kai. And then he just showed him crying. Like his panel showed him crying in tears, man. But he's got a lot. He can improve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, we're going to get into Omega.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's finished.
Yeah.
Or is it still?
Like, we got a while.
We got a while.
It's finished.
There is so much further that they can take.
Yeah.
How young,
like
how undeveloped he is.
Oh, yeah.
Like Oma even says it too. Like once you see Oma get back up after he choked Cosmo out, he's like you're just gonna keep on getting better, and you're like way younger than me too.
Yeah. So with that match over, who is the next match?
Oh, Wakatsuki and Muteba.
Oh my God, yes.
So Wakatsuki, hey man, at the end of this, I really like that. Wakatsuki and Kano were the component, like the main people that would think we're going to win. Wakatsuki cold.
Oh yeah,
Wakatsuki after the fight with Julius, man.
There is like Wakatsuki is another one of those characters that honestly I would read or watch an entire series just around him.
Yeah,
like he has a lot of potential as a character that we don't really get a lot of in Kengan until his later fight after this.
Yeah, it's like a lot of characters that we get more development and more history about them as the matches go on, which is dope. Yeah. And then his opponent is Muteba.
Yeah, the genocider. Yeah.
Yo, so we heard he got eyes. He got artificial eyes.
Yes, they were talking about it in an earlier chapter, but I don't think they really like went great into detail about it. But I think they explained this during the match. Miss Togo or whatever.
She saw this in a movie. She referred to Predator.
It's Predator.
It was Predator.
She doesn't say it, but it's Predator.
Yeah, I saw this in a sci-fi film. The fight. So pretty much, I like how it was a funny part where Sekibashi comes into the announcer box and they were talking, and then Saki was like, "Oh, I'm glad we have an active fighter here doing this fight." And Jerry Tyson goes, "I'm an active fighter too."
I'd be fighting too, man.
No, he said, it was so funny. Like he ain't been there like half these matches. Commentating.
Right.
But,
oh god,
I still love that about Jerry Tyson. It's like you can tell that at some point in the tournament he just wandered over there to the announcement table and they just let him stay there.
Yeah, because like I saw that more in the anime I think it was during his fight with Adam and Cosmo.
Well, shit,
the very first match. He just falls into the announcer's box
because he noticed Adam Dudley, and then he's been there since all the way up to the end.
I remember, going like, "When did you get a microphone?" And he just stayed. You just let him stay.
Hey, he's a good announcer. And just that part where Seki showed up. I'm an active fighter too. I can picture his face. I can picture the moment, him talking.
Yeah.
But Seki Abayashi pretty much explains like both of them, like both the strengths and weaknesses. Basically, if Wakatsuki can get in and get punches off of Muteba or get the blast core off, and get in the slugfest, then Muteba can't take it. But Muteba's a mercenary, so he can adapt.
Yeah, and the problem is that everyone knows about Blast Core now.
Yeah.
Blast Core was supposed to be his like
anti-Fang.
He was not supposed to use it until he came up against the Fang, and he was forced to do it against Julius.
Well, you had no choice in that fight.
No, he never did.
You had no choice.
So that fight, as with every fight with Wakatsuki up to this point, it's just them slugging it out, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, because he has Superman syndrome, so his muscles are super dense, and so I think Muteba actually does say at one point, like, on almost anyone, any of his punches would be possibly fatal.
Oh yeah, he said it.
Yeah, getting hit by Wakatsuki is like getting hit by a whole fleet of semis.
Yeah, and you get hit. He said it was done, so he pretty much is trying to stay out of his range, Wakatsuki's punching range. But then, as the fight goes, he starts using karate.
He does, yeah.
Starts using karate.
We talk about how Wakatsuki's full contact, like his fighting style is based around full contact karate.
And they show him back in the day. He had black hair and training, and he said something about the master who was training him. What did he say, Everett? He was training him. He said, like, you're lacking something. There's something that said he was lacking.
His master knew that he had been competing in like the Kengan matches.
Yeah,
and because it was after what's his face broke his leg. It was after Agito broke his leg. And he like went there to apologize to his master, and his master was like, "You're my favorite student. I'm just glad you're alive. Like, but if you want to get your like revenge on him, you need like additional things in your skill set, and like you need to branch out more."
Yeah, that's basically what he said to beat the Fang, because you're gonna need all you can beat. You need everything to beat the fact. Oh, and you know too, they explained a little bit. Wakatsuki's vision got janked up from Julius's fight, so he
can't see out of one of his eyes.
Yeah, so he had to.
It was his dominant eye, it was his right eye, so he had to change his stance to favor his left
to get a field of vision. So that was a disadvantage, and we don't know Muteba doesn't have the eyes yet, so he just
we're not supposed to know that.
We're not supposed to know that. We're not supposed to know that.
Yeah, find that out until Wakatsuki breaks his nose and thinks that he's taken his sense of smell away.
Yeah.
He's defenseless now. There's nothing he can do, and he goes in for to finish the match for the kill shot, and Muteba just lays him out real quick, and that's when we are explained that he has these prototype predator eyes now in his head.
Yeah. So like you find out that like throughout the fight in his stances, like Wakatsuki had been leaving a gap so that Muteba would try to get in and like try to do his heart jabs and all of that. And so Muteba stabs him in the throat, and then he just gets hit by the freight train.
He lured because remember Wakatsuki was trying to grapple him because he was doing certain stuff. And people were like, this is not the Wakatsuki that we know. And he was just doing stuff out of character. And he started trying to grab Muteba because he was trying to cover for the weakness of his eye.
Yeah.
But then he pretty much lured Muteba in. And then when I saw it again, I was like, oh, that's how he got him. He got him in the neck pretty good, but then that fist of the Flash, and then blast core,
and Muteba slams into the wall like yards away.
And his arm is just in tatters. And then you see Muteba get back up, raise his hand, and goes, I forfeit.
It was, but they thought he was going to keep going.
Yeah.
They thought Muteba was like, well, everybody's like, whoa.
Because Wakatsuki is like, they show the picture, like a little panel of his eyes are huge, and he's like, there's no way he's getting up from this. And he like stands up, and he's like, I forfeit.
And he walks over, and then Toga, I like the next panel, because everyone's like, he did what? Toga's face was priceless. She said he's just playing, he's just letting his guard down or something.
And so, like, if I remember right, as he's walking away, he does say to Wakatsuki, he's like, I realized you and I are not the same. He's like, you got out to win. No, he says
he's like, you're a fighter, I'm a mercenary.
Yeah.
And like that's all it is. And everybody's like, what is he talking about? And then Sekibayashi realizes it, and he grabs the mic and he's like, let me try to explain this. Because of Muteba's profession, he has like certain stopping points, because he considered that if he kept fighting Wakatsuki, it would do way too much damage to him, and so he like just decided the risk wasn't worth it, and so he quit.
Yeah, because he does say, like, I think it is Sekibayashi that says, like, he's like, you know, we as fighters, our intention is to win.
Yeah.
As a mercenary, his intention is to basically not die.
His intention is to survive.
Yeah, pretty much. And like they explained it, like, and that's dope that he has a philosophy, because another thing, if he gets all the way injured, he's a mercenary, he still got to make money. And if he would have got hurt and something would have happened, his mercenary career would have been over.
Yeah.
And so of course Togo is yelling in the hallway. She was mad. And Muteba does something that I didn't really expect, but he's like, you know what, I had so much fun here, I'm gonna give you this card and I'll do one job for you for free.
Yo, Muteba is the GOAT.
He's a good
Yes.
And, like, what's funny to me about it is because we've really not talked about Miss Togo much, because she's such a background character, especially compared to
Nogi.
Especially compared to a personality like Muteba's.
Yeah, their personalities are too different.
So what we didn't talk about is that she really is a dangerous person.
Oh yeah, she's
because like her secretary is standing there and she's like talking about like the philosophy of fighting or something like deep and important.
Fuck all that.
And Togo's like looking at the card and she's like, I wonder how I'm going to use this. And that's all I'm thinking about, is how she's going to use Muteba's one free job he's giving her.
Yo, I mean, she said, go ahead, Everett.
I really like how they flesh out Muteba's character because it's like he's a mercenary, so you expect him to just be like a psychopath, but like he's like a very like developed character. Like he has like a certain style that he likes. He when he was talking to Togo like way earlier in the tournament, he was like, I might be a mercenary, but I'm not a serial killer.
Yeah,
Like I don't just kill because I want to.
Seki.
I believe that was right after his fight. It was either with Seki or
It was
with
no,
Meguro.
no, hell no. It wasn't Meguro. He had to kill him. It was
Oh
Seki.
yeah.
It was Seki. He said I don't have because he did the throat jab, and she said you could have killed him if you wanted to. That's when what you said, Everett. Yeah, he don't have to kill unless it's deemed necessary. I need to just get the job done.
Yeah, because with Meguro, it was either okay, he's gonna kill me, so I have to kill him.
Yeah, that's pretty much what that was. He had no choice, but unfortunately.
So, bringing us to the next fight, because like a lot of the like behind the scenes stuff that's going on is relatively inconsequential at this point. It's one of those things that it fleshes out character and it fleshes out like what's going to happen with the Kengan Association, depending on who wins, and there's a lot of that going on. But really, what you really want to be focusing on during this stretch of the manga is the fights, because the fights are, I mean, obviously it's the heart of this whole series, but these are down to the wire. These are the best that the Kengan matches had to offer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we get to see. Like I told you, we get to Ray, and Ray is about to fight Kuroki. Man, I told you, Tim, Kuroki, man.
Kuroki is no joke.
Kuroki, man.
I mean, you knew he wasn't when he went up against Rahito, but like, the more you see of Kuroki, the more it's like, holy shit, this dude is on a whole other level from almost everybody in the association.
It's Kuroki.
Yeah.
Kuroki. So Ray's talking to Reno, and we learned about a little bit her what her power is, somewhat.
Well, this is the first we're really learning over the fact that she has an ability.
I didn't even know. That was like, it's kind of weird. So basically, you think Ray, he's an assassin, and then all of a sudden, a year later, he's like, I won't kill anymore.
Yeah, I'm just closing the blind.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, he's like, I won't kill anymore. And it's like, oh, and he's in love with Reno. So
there's a big thing that we forgot to mention because the background for this fight is actually important.
Oh, go ahead.
So when they come into like the locker room or wherever where Reno and Ray are, the bodyguard is like, "Oh, hey, it's time for your match," and then you see his neck get broken, and then he just falls, and it's like Ray's like, "What is that?" It's like there's something lurking in the darkness, and then you see Kiryu has been like going around killing bodyguards.
He killed the other dudes in the other room too.
Yep.
He killed all them, and then
all those replacements that Reno had that she was probably going to replace Ray with.
Snap! All you see their necks and heads turned. I was like, "Yo,
One thing that I am curious about: what was Kiryu's motivation for that?
He started going.
You see it like we're actually going to talk about that after we get through the rest of these fights, because there's a reason why he is going around killing the bodyguard.
Kiryu is really starting to lose his grip for sure.
Oh no. He's been lost it. It just hasn't surfaced until more true. Now. No, he's lost his mind.
He's been crazy.
Oh,
but I mean, it's really on full display now.
Oh no,
right before Oma's next fight is when we really see it on full display. But we'll get there.
So basically, they call the guards. Oh, he runs up on Kozua. Don't Kozua Yamashita run up on Setsuna and he says hi to him or something like that?
That's way later. Later.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So and then Ray comes out for his match and he seems like super distracted by what just happened. And then Kuroki is like, "Hey, you need to focus." They're like, "Do you genuinely think you can beat me with your mind somewhere else?"
Yo, he had the panel on him and it was like dark.
Yeah.
He said, "You ain't gonna beat me you gotta beat me with you're gonna have to beat me with full attention, bro.
Yeah.
And then so we find out too, Kuroki been murking everybody. So they talking, and he was like, do we get to the power yet? Are we at the power yet for Reno? Or we get as the match starting? We get to
so when the match starts, Ray immediately goes for his like lightning strike, and Kuroki's like, "Oh, that's not gonna work on me. Like, I figured out the timings for your strikes when I was watching your match earlier," and so like he goes to block it, and he gets clipped in his side, and he falls to his knees for the first time in the tournament.
Yeah, and he notices that Ray is much faster than he was
in the previous two matches.
Yeah.
Against Sapang and Nezu.
Nezu, yeah.
Yeah.
So
then it talks about the power.
So that was weird. I had to go back and read it. So I kept thinking of what the hell's her power. So we learned that her nickname, Rito's nickname, is the Queen Bee. Basically, she can hypnotize men. The power that she had, she can hypnotize men to basically obey her.
It's kind of like I believe they call it the power of suggestion. I think.
Yeah, that's what it was.
To basically make Ray faster. And he said, "I need it." And he said, "Are you sure?" He says, "I need it definitely in this match to win this turn. Basically, I'm gonna need this power." He said, "Okay, Ray, win for me," and that's all she said.
Yeah, because doesn't she specifically say like, "I'll do it," but it only works this one time.
Yeah.
She doesn't really explain why, but it's one of those things. Like I interpreted it as
hypnotism.
No, if you read X-Men comics, Gambit has this power to charm people, but it doesn't work if you know that he can do it.
Yeah.
And so I
didn't know that.
So my interpretation was if you know that Reno can do it, she can't do it to you.
Yeah.
It's my interpretation.
I think it works. It don't matter what type of man. Hell, it could have worked on freaking Gensai and Kano. It could work on any man.
It could work on anyone as long as she can get close to him. Yeah.
Yeah. And
why she didn't think of that is a plot hole, but we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah. I was like, and basically it made Ray dumb fast.
Well, yeah, it kind of unlocked the parts of his brain that limit
the removal. Kind of like they said, it's like the
Very
removal.
much like removal.
Yeah, and it lets Ray fight at his. I told you he wasn't fighting at his fullest.
No,
he was not in his first two matches, especially the first match. Ray was not fighting at his full potential, but then it's gonna have a backlash.
It does have a backlash. Everything does.
Especially this match. And as the match goes, Ray's striking Kuroki, but
it doesn't seem to be doing a lot of damage.
He's blocking it, but the power had an expiration date as well.
Yeah. The power of suggestion does wear off after a certain a lot of time.
Yeah. And Ray was go ahead.
There's a really important part of this fight that we left out. So you actually find out that Kuroki assassinated Ray's father. And he's like, are you seeking revenge for your father? He's like, no, it's just because he was weak. But you know that, like, on some level, the reason why he's going this hard too, that definitely is playing a factor for him.
Yeah, there's there's like three reasons they were explaining. I like how they fleshed it out. What Ray's fighting for? It was like desire. It was like he's fighting for love, Reno. He's fighting for desire to be the strongest for the rising style, and then to basically was it like pride? It was something else he was fighting for. I know three things he was fighting for.
And then piggybacking off of that, it was specifically saying that, like, even though Ray kept saying that he wasn't tied down by anything, he was actually bound by so many things that were like keeping him from reaching his greatest potential. And because of that, I think Rihito and Takakaze were like realizing that even without saying anything directly to Ray, Kuroki was training him. He is like, you can't reach this level unless you give up everything else.
Yeah. Well, because there is a little panel in the manga that shows Ray, and he's got boulders above his head.
That's what I said.
labels.
It had love, desire, and I think pride.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. And so it illustrates like how he's basically weighed down by all these things.
And he's not weighed down, but he's not fighting at the full.
Yeah.
Especially against Kuroki. Like, you cannot, at all matches, you want to get distracted on this match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think it's right here. I think they say it quite later on. But Kuroki, they do say that Kuroki is literally the embodiment of what.
Oh yeah, of the wisdom, like the depth. Yeah,
he's a fucking genius. They showed him so he started using something else. The motionless style. They go back to Okinawa, and he was training. They showed young Kuroki with before the full goatee and beard.
Before the Grizzly Adams look.
He was holding the pots, and the dude, his friend, had a gun, and he said, "Just shoot it. Just don't tell me you're gonna do it." He wanted to see how.
I don't want to see it on your face, so he had to do like in full like riot gear and everything.
Yo,
face,
and then he held the thing up, shot it, and held the buckets up. I don't know what the fuck was in it, but it had him in heavy for him to lift it up fast enough. And he said,
it was like iron sand or something like that.
Yeah, and he said, "Man, that was not as fast as I thought it was." I said, "He's a fucking good."
Yeah, he was like, "That's a lot slower than I thought it was gonna be."
Yeah,
Kuroki at 35.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I've been making these comparisons the entire series.
I told you,
but like, this is Yujiro Hanma shit.
Kuroki,
him and the Fang are the closest to Yujiro Hanma that we're gonna get series without it being like
over exaggerated.
Without it being comically overpowered.
Because
Yujiro and Baki is
man
comically overpowered.
Chuck Norris, that's like I'm telling you, it's like every martial artist with Jean-Claude Van Damme, Steven Seagal, Bruce Lee, Donnie Yen, all them martial artists just packed into one man.
Yeah.
And there you go.
Yeah. So how does this match end?
Pretty much.
So when it gets to a point where like Ray like does stop thinking about all the stuff that's weighing him down, and he starts performing way better than he had been before, and then he does one more like lightning strike, and then you just see Kuroki like look up, and then he just places his fist out.
Oh yeah.
And then smacks right into the fist.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Right. Yeah, Ray was trying, and then the suggestion wore off, and then we hear about Reno's name, Queen Bee, and then another thing. So they mentioned about how people are any fighter that's placed with Reno, and this happens, they pretty much disappear.
Yeah, every fighter he's had besides Ray, who's lost, ends up just disappearing, and no one ever sees him.
Yeah.
Then she
and then at the end of the fight, after Ray is down, she's talking to Ray while she's holding him in her arms, and she reveals quite a few things. The first one being that Hayami is her biological father.
Bruh, Everett, I forgot when I read it last night. I said, "Damn, did I not remember this when I read it the first time?" I was like, "Oh, you got him as a father?"
The Toyo Electric?
Yes.
Okay.
That's
for some reason, I thought it was Katahara. My memory.
No, remember I told you? I said
that's Retsudo. That Retsudo is Katahara's son, and then Sayaka is his daughter.
What? I was flipped. I said, "Damn, did I remember this last time when I first read this? That's your biological father?"
Yeah, and then the second thing she admitted was like when her fighters are starting to get like this broken up, she just tells them, she gives them the suggestion to stop fighting.
Period.
And so like to like find a different path in life. And it's not because like she's like killing them or anything like that. She just doesn't want them to die because she cares about them.
Yeah.
But she didn't do it to Ray. I think she really
she didn't want to do it.
Did she really love Ray like that? Like, did she really genuinely love Ray? Like,
I think so.
I think so.
I think so.
That's what I thought. I think she
I think
genuinely
it's-
loved Ray.
I think it's that, and I think it's that she genuinely found someone she thought could win.
Ray,
Yeah.
Hey man, the way Ray came up in the tournament, I figured he was gonna get far.
Yeah. And then you start hearing like Ray's thoughts, and he was like, I still want to like turn the Raishin style into a martial art that doesn't have to kill. And
Yeah.
then he starts thinking about Kuroki, and he's like, can I really reach him as I am right now?
Is that the panel that it shows Kuroki like standing on top of the mountain?
No,
Yeah.
no. That was Hatsume and Kano.
Yeah, you're right.
That was Hatsume.
Oh yeah.
Man, that's the next fight.
Basically, and that real quick, they said something in like Ray's out. You know, they'll say like somebody's at the third round. They said pretty much Ray and Reno's parting's coming soon.
Yes.
Like them parting or something like that.
Yeah.
So, because she had that look on her face like, oh shit.
She knew this was over. Yeah.
So we get to my boy. Tim hates me now because I kept telling him Hatsumi is my favorite character. I told him. And he said, man, I blame you. And he's like, man, I can't wait to read the Kano and Hatsume fight. I said,
I didn't.
Oh, shit.
Because no, when you first meet him in the anime, you're like, who is this fucking guy?
Yo, Hatsume's cool.
And then like
Ooh.
you see him in his first fight with Chiba, and I was like, God damn, this dude's no joke.
Yo, Hatsume.
You see him in his next fight
with Bondo.
And that's even better. And like,
Woo.
he is one of those characters that they took you on a long con with him.
Man.
Like his character development is like stretched out. You don't get it all at once.
I like that. So as the fight starts, Hatsume is getting warmed up. Now he's in peak condition. This is peak condition Hatsume. And I like how now they're talking about the history of why Hatsume loses, but because you can tell Nogi has a little hesitation to have Hatsume as his representative fighter because Hatsume's track record.
Yeah.
And he does it, but when we heard about it, Hatsume has 39. I like that. 39 losses, 39 wins, 15 losses. But Hatsume's never lost to a fight to somebody physically. He's just crazy.
Yeah, he just didn't show up.
He overslept.
Well, and they say in a previous match with Hatsumi, they talk about how like, oh, he's not working hard. A person like him has never worked hard at anything in his life. He's like a professional slacker. That is what Hatsumi is down to his core.
But then,
yeah, and then you find out too, is like at the beginning of their talking, you find out that Katahara says that Hatsumi was a candidate to be the fifth Fang of Metsudo.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was what surprised me.
Yeah.
Because he got
Yeah, they talk about how he was the man who was supposed to be the Fang of Metsudo
at one point. And he went to the mansion and he was just so nonchalant, like, oh shit, cool. He said I needed a job. And then it goes to Katahara and he said it was in the one weekend. He said, I quit. This is boring. And then he left.
Yeah, and that was Hatsumi at 28. And he's 35, 36 right now, I think they said.
I believe
he's
so.
He's a few years older now.
Yeah.
But this fight is
peak.
This is peak Hatsumi.
Oh. But then the conversation between Nogi and Katahara goes on for a little bit more before they get into the fight.
Mm-hmm.
And then Katahara drops a bombshell. He's like, I never thought you'd be this excited to fulfill your ancestors' desire. And then Nogi is like, how the fuck do you know about that?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, we don't find out what that is until like almost the last fight.
Yeah.
And it has to do with Kazuo.
Yeah, and then Katahara's like, I bet he never thought this entire tournament was for him. And then it cuts to a panel of Kazuo.
Yes.
That is
I was reading that last night because, like I said, I sped read this last night, and like I saw that panel of Kazuo, and I'm like, what is going on.
Oh yeah. See,
Yeah, and then there's a really big like callback to that too, because I don't know if you remember this, because I don't think they say it in the anime, but in the manga when they're on the ship for the preliminaries, and then Rin calls Nogi to tell him that Kazuo's predictions for the fighters were correct, and he's like, yeah, and Nogi's like, why would I be surprised about that? And then he specifically says Yamashita is the man that Nogi bet on.
Yeah, I think that they
Yeah,
kind of do in the anime, but I think it's like a very like watered down version of what.
yeah.
Uh,
So like in the manga, it like they do show that there's more to it than meets the eye.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
this fight.
So now we're seeing Hatsumi at top condition versus a highly evolved Kano Agito.
Man, I don't see. I told this when this fight, I don't even. Kano was getting pushed, but I felt he got pushed more. Kaolon. Even though Hatsumi's at peak condition,
it does seem like he had a harder time with Kaolon than he did with Hatsumi.
And I'm not degrading
Hatsumi. Not at all.
And then you see like Agito walk out, and then Katahara is like, oh, I see that he kept his place. And then there's background information where Omori is talking to Agito. He's like, Agito's like, you want to run that by me again? He's like, oh, yeah, for sure. I'm going to take your spot because you're a liability.
Yeah. And so basically the former Fang of Metsudo and the current Fang of Metsudo basically engage in a fight that we don't get to see.
But we know what the outcome is because Kano's out there fighting. And in LA, Omori came out, was like, something. He's like, he's evolved.
He's like, this Fang is a handful.
Man, like Kano was like, bro, what? Like he's telling me you're a liability. You start losing focus after a certain amount. Like you start losing focus when you go into that formless form.
Oh yeah, he's like, he basically brings up the weakness of formless, which was touched on when Agito fought Kowloon. Which is like, even though formless, like you have formless, but you have to make choices, and because you're formless, you have a bunch of choices. But having that many choices will slow down your reaction time because you have to choose.
Yeah. So now, if I remember this fight well, I mean, if I remember it the way that I think I remember it, Hatsumi pretty much just takes it to him like immediately.
Yeah.
He started. This is a different Hatsumi. He was very cautious. He didn't run up on him like he did with Bondo.
Oh, there's another part that we forgot to bring up
Oma,
too, where Hatsumi comes up to Oma and he's like, "Oh, hey, I heard the Fang kicked your ass," and Oma's like, "Oh yeah," he's like, "Oh yeah, he knocked me out." Hatsumi's like, "I was not expecting that reaction out of him."
And I think Kahlo even notices too, like
Oma's more mellow.
Oma's a lot more mature than he was before,
which is good.
Yeah, and so that's what leads to them sparring outside in the arena, waiting on Kano to come back. Yeah, and
then after they're finished, Oma's like, "All right, cool, try not to die." Yeah. And then he talks to Kazuo, and he was like, well, I guess the reason why I was so like hostile towards him when I first met him is because he reminds me of somebody I used to know. And then you see Nico next to him.
You see Hatsumi standing there, and Nico's like right over his shoulder.
I think that's why I like Nico too. So it's like I definitely like him and Hatsumi do have similar personalities.
Yeah.
Like the fight started out.
He even is drawn very similar.
They have long hair. Both had long hair.
I feel like their facial features are drawn similar.
Yeah, they have really similar facial features.
Yeah.
So anyway, this fight starts, and I mean, like we said, Hatsumi basically takes, like, if he had pockets, he'd put his hands in his pockets and walks up Kano.
Yeah, it's like what they said with Jerry Tyson. He's like a stroll in the park. He just walks straight. And then I like the title. Did you see the title for it? It was called Hellbird. because Kano kicks the ground as Hatsume is walking up, and it's like a cut in the ground. He said,
"Oh yeah."
He said, "Oh, what did he say?" He said something about
it's like he's using a halberd.
Yeah, he just looks.
Yeah.
You see Hatsume stop walking, and it's like, okay, so I don't know how I'm gonna approach you just all willy nilly.
Yeah, and man, Hatsumi throws everything he's got at Kano Agito. I mean, at some point he uses the
he uses Murukumo triple barrel. He uses the 3. He tries to, and then Kano broke his finger. Then he like grabbed it back, like broke his finger, and he retracted it back. And then you see the little after the flare, he was like, "Oh,
You kind of see him looking at his hand, like, oh, so that happened."
I'm like,
yeah.
He uses the throw that he used against Bondo as well.
Yeah. So like he Hatsumi gets Agito in a grab and like a lock, and then like everybody's like, oh, this is basically checkmate, because if he tries to do anything, like Hatsumi is gonna break his arm,
or kick
and then and then
by the hips.
Yeah. So like before that, when he grabbed him by the arm, and then he just hits, like Agito hits Hatsumi, and Hatsumi's like, oh my god, he's like, what was that? And then you find out Agito just hit him with the 1-inch punch.
The Bruce Lee.
And they call it the dragon shot.
The Bruce Lee punch.
Well, I think the 1-inch punch is what finishes that match.
No,
it's a kick that finishes the match.
He did it. He does it again.
He grabs at him again. He gets him again. And when Kano goes for, I think, a punch, you hear Hatsumi in his head go, "That's what I was waiting on." And he pulls a move called Star Drop.
Yeah,
it's an Aikido throw of some kind. It's one of those things I think I'd have to see in motion to really understand fully.
Like he puts his chin, like I think he puts his like a palm, and he puts it up on his chin, and like basically, okay, remember Goki Shibukawa? Remember how he smacked Ali Jr.?
Yeah.
Remember he's in the park? He did something like that. It looked just like that, and he puts his hand in the face and slams him on the ground.
Well, either way, Kano manages to survive it, because they several people make the comment, like, if he were to complete Star Drop at full damage, Kano's done. And he manages to lessen the impact, and I believe that is when he ends Hatsumi.
Kicks him in the straight square. And he did the dragon shot twice.
Yeah, he did.
And then when I saw Hatsume drop, because they did the same thing with Cosmo, he said, "I'm going to beat you one day."
Yeah.
And he just kicks him in the face, and then Hatsume just drops on Nogi's face.
Yeah, and then you see Katahara making this super big grin, but his like face is obscured by shadow, and like Nogi's on his knees.
I really thought people Wakatsuki was like, he can probably take down the Fang.
Yeah,
man.
And then what was really cool, it was like he essentially Agito used that fight as a stepping stone, which is really sad. Like he turned Hatsumi into a jobber.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, I mean, and again, like I was going into that thinking, like, dude, I think Hatsumi's going to pull it off, and then you find out he used to be a candidate for the Fang. I'm like, dude, he's got this.
Man,
it goes down. I'm like, God damn it.
Hey, but think about
this.
But think about it. You see Hatsumi get. I like how he still got up. And they carried it. He's like, anybody got a smoke?
Yeah.
He got injured, but he wasn't like I injured my cow lawn, injured my feet. He said, anybody got a smoke?
Was it Kaide that he was talking to?
He was talking to
it was Shion, the girl he used to date.
And she asked him.
Sensen his lady. Or Sensen.
Yeah.
And she came out, Sin! He was like, I'm gonna be good. I need some rest.
Yeah, he's like, this ain't enough to kill me. And then you find out that Agito intentionally held back on the kick because he was like, you're not really worth it.
I felt bad. That's what I'm like. We see, and you notice, you can tell when Kano's serious because he makes that goofy ass face when he goes and when he gets in that mood,
the Venom grin.
when he gets the fight, he was not as serious. He did a cow line before the fight started and he walked out. And I felt bad because this is Pete Hatsumi. Hatsumi was serious.
Yeah.
And he still didn't give Kano. I felt like he still didn't give him a work. It's like he treated him like Okubo.
Oh yeah.
That's what, and that was bad. I said, why y'all do my man's like that? Hatsumi was serious.
So then I'm trying to think of what happens next.
So
I really should have forgot my notes.
So we go. It was the next fight. We don't even get to the fight. It's gonna be
because the next fight I'm pretty sure would be Oma versus Wakatsuki.
Yep. It was.
But before that happens,
we get to the Setsuna.
Yeah. So Kazuo goes to get a drink, and then he's like talking to somebody, and he's like, "Oh, hey, can I help you?" And then you find out Rin has been watching him in the background, and then like Oma's like outside eating, and then Rin like runs to him and is like, "You gotta hurry, like Kazuo is in trouble." And like Oma makes his face like, "Oh hell no."
My manager in trouble, my boy.
And after Cosmo's fight with Oma, I think it's around now is when Oma's in the hospital wing and he like kind of like comes to and Carla.
Oh, that was way back.
Yeah.
That was before Cosmo. I meant to.
Oh yeah, that was before Cosmo. That's right.
Carla's just a funny little off character, Carla Curre.
It was funny because she was talking to me. She said, "Is the acupuncture okay?" He's like, "Yeah, it's fine."
Yeah, she's just like straddling him.
And then one Curre, they're a group. It's funny. I know we're off track because we went back, but it's so funny because the Curre members for this, the few of them, the brothers Hollis and all them, the other two, they're so funny and nonchalant, but they're assassins. He was like, "All right, Carla, come on, let's go." And she he cried. Nelson.
Yeah.
And then Ariel finally acknowledges Oma.
Yeah.
Like he's like, he beat Ryan. How can I not accept him into the family?
Yeah.
He's like, grandfather. He's like, that's good. He's like, it's gonna be okay, grandfather.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So anyway, we're going into we're about to start. Yeah, I mean, we have an hour break in the matches to let the fighters rest up. And that's when Setsuna runs into Kazuo.
Mm-hmm. You can tell it was him because he's like, "Oh, I already knew it was him." He said, "You see the darkness?" I said, "We already know he running around here." I'm like, "Man, Setsuna, yo."
Mm-hmm. So that's when Rin runs up to Kazuo, which Rin was like another secretary that was with Kaide, right? That was like watching. Yamashita.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So Rin walks up and she's like, "You got to go get Kazuo. He's in trouble." And I think Oma instinctively, immediately knows, oh, he's got it.
Yeah, and so they're Kazuo and Kiryu are outside, and Oma's like, not Oma, Kazuo's like, "Wait, what's happening?" And then Kiryu is like, "Oh, there's more danger in the stadium." And it's like, what is it, more people from Hayami's sect? And then Kiryu's mind warps Kazuo into Nico, and then he tries to attack Kazuo, and then Oma gets there in time and blocks it.
Yeah.
At this point, Setsuna's done. Setsuna's lost all.
Setsuna has now had a complete break with reality.
Oh, this was too real. So we get to learn about how Oma learned. Well, actually,
it
gets the advanced thrown on him, not learn it, and we
upon him.
And then we learned about the so-called real Nico and how Oma's Nico actually died. So that was they get ready to fight. Pretty much, this was Kazuo. No, he didn't know Oma and old boy had history, and he kept hearing about Nico. He didn't know who the hell Nico was. He kept hearing Nico's name, and he's like, "Who's this Nico character?" And I almost said his name before, and then they finally go into it. He's like, "Oh, I forgot. I never told you that how your master, how the devil how the devil died as he refers to Nico.
Yeah, because he talks about how the devil has deceived Oma.
Yeah.
Man. So how do we start this off? Like pretty much basically, it starts off with Setsuna. Like they show it where Setsuna was about to get killed by Oma, and almost he's using the possessing spirit.
Well, before that, it shows the quote unquote real Nico's face in one of the panels, and then almost like, oh right, that's right, that's the dude that like taught me the advance, and then it cuts to Oma like practicing stuff, and then the dude just walks up and he's like, "Oh, hey, you're Tokido Oma, right?" And Oma's like, "What the fuck?" Because Oma had like heightened senses because he was in the inside, and so like he had to always watch himself. And this random dude just slipped through like his perception.
Yeah. He basically sneaks up on him when that's nearly impossible to do.
Yeah, that one, and he sneaks on Oma and whatnot, and
the real Nico's like, "Oh man, I thought I'd be able to just like talk to you if I just acted like I knew you." And he's like, "Forget that poser's techniques. I'm the real Nico." And then he's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And he goes to attack the real Nico, and then the real Nico just one shots him.
He's flashing steel. Yeah, he was like, "Damn, you are weak." He told him, "You're weak," and he's like, "Teach you something." And then he just pops him, and
he pops him right in the heart,
and gives him a chance.
Yeah, he basically like forces him to.
Yeah. And almost like, "What did you just do to me?" And then he's like, "Oh, you got a tiger dwelling in you now." And then the advance comes undone, and then Oma passes out.
Yeah.
I was like, damn. So he didn't. I forgot he didn't really teach it to him. He just, hey, here you go. He's like, oh, you got a god. You have a god dwelling within you now.
Yeah.
Walks off, and we never see him again.
We really don't.
We don't.
Yeah, I guess I forgot about that.
We don't really
ever see him.
No, we do actually, because then in the flashback, Kiryu finds Oma again. When Nico isn't around.
I forgot about
that.
And
then they fight, and then you find out that the real Nico taught Kiryu a little bit about the Nico style, and then he introduced him to Genzan. Because if you remember when he was learning the Rakshas Palm stuff, his teacher was like, "You already know martial arts, don't you?"
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part slipped right through my brain.
And he he teaches.
And then so when Kiryu and Oma are fighting, like he hits Oma with a Rakshas Palm right in the chest and reactivates the advance.
Yeah.
And then Oma starts curb stomping Kiryu, and Kiryu's like, "Finally, I can get punished by God." And then Oma's Nico shows up and is like, "Who the hell taught you that? Like, how do you know how to do the advance?"
Yeah.
And
he's like, sorry kid, I'm gonna have to rough you up a little bit.
Yeah, he said, "Kill you, I'm gonna kill
you." They're fighting, and Oma injures Nico, and then Nico is able to undo the advance, and Oma falls out again. And then it cuts back to the present, and Oma's like, "What happened after that?" And then Kiryu is like, "Oh, like Nico's spell must be coming undone on him." And then you find out that the real Nico came back and then fought Oma's Nico, and allegedly Oma's Nico fatally wounded the real Nico.
But we still don't know.
But you don't see it. And then the reason why Nico died against Genzan is because he fought 3 back-to-back matches. So like with like 2 super strong people, and then he fought Genzan on top of that.
Yeah.
And now we're told that they took Nico. So we learned about, and then after that, pretty much Setsuno goes on the offensive and is trying to rock Oma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rock Sasha's Pons was coming out left and right.
Yeah,
Feet
but they weren't
hands.
doing they weren't landing, and they were only like twisting small spots on Oma's like arms and stuff.
Yeah. And the onslaught was real for like it was a few chapters that the onslaught was going on until pretty much Oma ended it by
Oh, we actually find out what Kiryu's other form is called. It's like the secondary secret technique of the Nico style. It's called like
the
Fallen
fallen
Demon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like a
where
lad.
it like basically slows down everything for Kiryu, and then he's able to like dodge it. But at this point, he's taken so much damage, his body can't keep up with his mind.
Yeah.
And his mind is already gone.
Yeah,
So it made it even worse. And then Oma was doing work. And I think Kiryu actually injured Oma just like a little bit. But then after that, he pretty much
oh yeah, he tries to do the advance. He tries to do the Rakshas palm on him to activate the advance, and Oma's like, "Oh, I knew you were gonna do that." And like the reason why I didn't bother using the advance on you is because I wanted to beat you only using the Nico style.
Yeah.
And then Setsuno goes, gets shitty again.
Yeah.
And was like, why are you
like
techniques?
Yeah,
And
he's like, your fucked up delusions killed the closest thing I had to a father.
yeah, I felt bad. I was like, that was sad.
Yeah.
And then pretty much Oma undoes, pretty much like kind of undoes the advance on Kiryu.
Yeah.
And that was
he does like some chi blockage stuff on him.
Yeah.
And then you find out too that I'm trying to remember the there was somewhere I was going with that, but I forgot.
Setsuno is
I just remembered. I'm sorry, Tim. It's like at the beginning of the series where like Oma had so much vitriol for Kiryu and like couldn't stand the dude, but like at the end he was like, I don't feel anything but pity for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very like it's a weird comparison, but there's a scene very similar to this in Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah.
Where Harry talks about how all he does is feel sorry for him. But yeah, it's very similar to that. And like it just leaves Setsuna broken, not physically so much,
mentally.
But and like just spiritually.
Emotionally.
Yeah.
He felt bad. So they pretty much when the bodyguards rolled up and then they asked because Red Suit already knew Setsuna already killed a couple of bodyguards, and then Oma and them was like, just let him take it. They'll know what to do for him.
Yeah.
And then you see Oma drop down to the ground on one knee. He's like, ooh. You're like, who? That Rakshas palm hurt.
Yeah, he got messed up a little bit, but it wasn't as bad.
Yeah.
So we get to the next fight. Now we're down to the nitty gritty. Now
it's Oma versus Wakatsuki, but before that happens, Nogi walks into their locker room and is like, "Good job. We'll have like Wakatsuki's camp has already decided to nominate me for
chairman.
Yeah.
For chairman if they win, so you can tell Oma to throw the match." And Kazuo was like, "Who the fuck do you think you are?"
Yeah.
Like you have some nerve. Like this man is fighting on his last legs to try to prove something to himself. And then Nogi's like, "Oh man." He's like, I can't believe this. I didn't want to tell you this yet. And then you see Rin like kind of side-eye Nogi. And then he's like, the reason is like I invited you here is because my family has a debt to pay to yours. Because your ancestor was the Nogi clan's fighter.
Yeah. And during the early years of the Kengan Association. In the Edo period. Yeah, back like I think he said 300 years before this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yamashita had an ancestor. That was dope.
Ichin-Oshin.
Yeah, Ichin-Oshin.
But he's basically saying Nogi was like, he kept fighting. And he kept fighting because he wanted to repay a debt to Oboi's family. but the people mocked him. But he kept winning matches after matches.
Yeah.
And then when he got to the semifinals, he died. And that's why he looks at Oma and Cosmo like, this is going to happen the same thing to you if Oma doesn't stop. And he was like, I can't stop Oma.
I'm not going to stop him. And like, he's like, whatever happened between our families then have anything to do with what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't we just go on and cheer Oma? And then it talks about specifically, because you see hints of this with Kazuo all throughout the series, that Kazuo's ancestor had like super dynamic kinetic vision.
Yes.
Like, and it got passed down to Kazuo too. So like, you remember when they were like doing the slot machine thing?
And you can see the numbers.
Yeah, and like Kazuo was able to see the numbers. He was like able to see like really small details where like when Akoya was fighting Haru, he was like, it really seems like Akoya is like a puppet because his like reaction time is being assisted by the girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, it's funny that now we learn that the reason that happened is because of some latent ability that Kazuo had that he didn't even know about.
Yeah. And then we learned about pretty much too that Nogi found out about, he was trying to find lineage for the Yamashita clan to continue the Kengan matches, but then he found out about Kazuo and he was come here. That's why he invited him.
And you know, this is where Nogi kind of starts like pontificating on like the nature of destiny and
because Kazuo found out about the Kengan matches on his own, like through like no help with Nogi or anybody else.
Because he met Oma.
Yeah. But and also we've talked too about how like up to this point, at least once already, Nogi tried to get Kazuo to forfeit the fight because he was gonna die doing this.
Yeah, but he didn't. He told Oma. He said, "I like how he said it before," and he said, "Oma's not gonna stop."
Yeah,
Oma's
like,
gonna keep,
and I'm not gonna bother trying to stop him at this point.
It's just like let him do what he wants to do, and we'll support him. So this fight, Wakatsuki. So I like how they do the little backstory because I know we still got some stuff to talk about.
Yeah,
back like I like how Seki Bayashi was like, "There's nobody. There's like 5 dudes that he said were like prodigies, like Oma." He's like, they had some jiu-jitsu guy, an MMA guy, somebody else that was like Wakatsuki. And he said Wakatsuki beat all 5 of them with 1 blow.
And they were supposed to be like the next big thing in the Kengan matches.
And Wakatsuki
beat them all.
Slapped them all.
Yeah. And like, it wasn't even close.
He said it wasn't even close. And he was like, Wakatsuki. Seki Bashi's like, Wakatsuki's gonna win. And he's like, you can't count Oma. He's like, no, I can't count Oma. I fought him. But he was like,
I fought him. He beat me.
Yeah, he beat me. But he said Wakatsuki is no joke.
Wakatsuki's another one of those fighters like Hiroki where he is on a level no one else besides them can be on.
Man, he fight like 300. He's fought 300 Kengan matches, right? Did he say 300?
And he's lost
like 300 something. He's only lost twice.
Guess who he lost to? The Fang and Hatsumi.
Yeah.
Yep.
He lost to the Fang and Hatsumi.
So.
And then there's like a little bit right before the fight where Oma goes to get a drink, and then he sees Wakatsuki on the bench, and Wakatsuki's like, my team has already decided to nominate Nogi if we win. And then Oma's like, well, I'm not just gonna hand you the win, so I guess we're just gonna have to fight it out.
Yeah.
And Wakatsuki's like, well, I guess that's what we have to do then.
Yeah.
And this is a great fight.
This fight, the way it was looking for Oma.
This fight has like my favorite like ring intro, where like when they're both in the ring, Oma is just staring at Wakatsuki. He's like, this pressure is different. It's like if there's anybody if there's any fighter I know that has a similar pressure to this, it's Nico. That means this dude is super strong.
He mentioned Ryan too, but he said Nico's probably the closest to this pressure.
And I mean, really, this is a case of where Oma like comes out swinging. Really,
he had to, because he said once Wakatsuki gets started, it's kind of hard. It's going to be hard to stop Wakatsuki.
And
Yeah,
like this is a case where everything that Oma throws at him is barely doing damage.
Yeah, because that muscle, that dense muscles,
muscle density,
and he had to do. This fight, Wakatsuki messed up Oma pretty good.
Oh yeah.
God, them low blows.
Just, like, Oma was just blocking and taking massive damage because his indestructible just couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
And Wakatsuki was just on his bumper.
Yeah, he was keeping the pressure on.
And then Oma does the technique.
Demon's Bane.
He actually, first time he did it though, it took damage, but he flow.
He did it wrong.
He did mess up the flow of the power, and it redirected somewhere else. And he got, because he went back to it and how Nico explained it.
Mm-hmm. It's the 4 katas working as one.
Mm-hmm.
And excuse me, he talks about how Nico is talking to Oma, and he's just like, you have to use all 4 katas at the same in conjunction with each other. That includes the water style, and you suck at the water style.
Yeah,
you got to work on that, bro.
Yeah, and so he kind of botches it the first time, and Wakatsuki is damaged, but not like not enough to end the match.
Yeah. And the onslaught pretty much continues. Oma pulled out some other Nico style techniques, but that was the one when he tried to throw Wakatsuki at the beginning. He tried to throw him, and he tried to throw. Yeah, he tried to do Weeping Will, and he just stopped him. I mean, I think he just like punched him in the face. I was like, Lord.
Yeah, and then there was one where like Oma was blocking attacks, and then like his guard dropped because his arms had taken so much damage from just blocking, and Wakatsuki kicked him in the liver, and like Oma just dropped to his knees. He was like I think it specifically says that if he did not use indestructible, his liver would have ruptured.
Yep, they showed that too with the panel when he got kicked in there. Yo, Oma was taking, and I like how everybody was cheering. Like they think Wakatsuki's really gonna win this match, and the way it was looking. But Oma, I love the panel they showed with Nogi and Kazuo. It's gonna be. He says like repeating itself, and they showed Oma and Kazuo. I was like, that was so heartwarming.
Yeah. And so this is the scene. I think this is the sequence where Oma's on his one knee, and his stance, Wakatsuki even says, he's like, that resembles him drawing a sword. Like the way that he's And I think that Wakatsuki goes to end it by launching one last major rush. And this is when we see Oma use Demon's Bane again, but he does it right this time.
And all we see is people. We saw everybody in the next panel, and then all we heard was, "We have a winner." Outside the stage.
Not just yet. So after he does the successful Demon's Bane, like everybody's just dumbfounded because Wakatsuki's just like there's a huge crater, like a meteor just like landed. Landed on the planet, and like Wakatsuki's just on the ground, and then Oma's just like, please don't get up.
His body slid across the floor.
And Oma was like, he can't. There's no way he's getting up.
And then you see Wakatsuki get back up
and walks. He said, "I'm gonna win." I said, Jesus Christ. But then you see his manager Heihachi was like, he looked and was like,
he just closes his eyes, and then you just see, we have a winner.
And we go to the next scene, and Oma wins. By narrow, Jesus Christ. And he kept saying like it was a counter, and he was just looking for that counter. Like I guess that he knew it was a counter, so he just kept his eye on it. But then
it was a formless counter. Like that's what was so dangerous about it.
Yeah, they had no form. So he didn't know what for and when he would do it. He just does it. And I felt bad because I really thought Walk had seen on this fight.
Yeah.
And I like how he told Heihachi, he was like, man, I let you down. He said, you took care of me when I was a kid. You taught me how to use my body.
Mm-hmm. And that's another, I mean, this is another example of what makes Kengan special is the relationships between the managers and the fighters are not always strictly business.
Yeah, they had a close relationship.
Yeah, I mean, with Ryo Inaba and Yurita from Panasonic.
Yep.
Known each other since kids. Heihachi Furumi and Takeshi Wakatsuki. I mean, they raised him.
Oh, hell. Kuroki and his manager are close.
Takakaze?
Yeah, they're close too.
Yeah, they kind of explain that here in like the upcoming chapters. I think they really explain how. Right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. So,
this next fight.
So basically, if I'm correct here, the winner of this next fight, which is going to be Kuroki and the Fang, go to fight Oma in the final match of the Kengan Annihilation.
So this matchup, I like because they were watching the fight with Wakatsuki and Oma next to each other, and then he said, "See you in the ring." He said, "All right."
Yep, like likewise.
This is where we get the backstory for Kano. But before that, this fight this is the Kuroki, man.
This fight is phenomenal.
God, Kuroki just.
So, is this where we want to get into Kano? Backstory.
Well,
or is that in mid match?
That was in mid match. It was in mid match when it actually started. But we could get into it because
we can do the backstory first because it kind of doesn't really matter where it comes up in the fight. It's just more exposition.
Yeah. So Kano Agito, if I'm not mistaken, Matsudo Katahara is reflecting on when he met Kano Agito, and I think he's talking to Nogi when he does it. And it's like what, 23 years?
23 years ago.
23 years in the past. He's on like an archaeological looking dig site.
Expedition,
and Ure is there. Why did you call me out here? And he's talking about what I assume to be, and I have to do a little more research on it, is a Japanese war sorcery called goo
which is like goo is where you put a bunch of like poisonous insects into a jar and like they just keep eating each other, and then the last one like eats the strongest one and it develops like an extremely strong poison.
Yes, and so they open what appears to be like a
vault.
A vault, yeah. And inside are just bodies just strewn everywhere. And you see a really dope looking flash panel of like
Kano.
And he's like hunched over and he's just covered in gore.
And I liked it. He said, "That's how I met Kano." And he looks at Katahara, and then we explained that. They explain how he gets that goofy face. So pretty much he was in madness when he was doing this freaking. He was basically trying to humanize Kano and keep the animalistic side of him under control.
Now, this is something I have a question about, and maybe you guys can help me here. When they were talking about the practice of goo, they talk about how the centipedes cannibalize each other. Are we to assume that Kano ate someone or ate people, or did he just kill them?
No, he just killed them. He just killed them.
I would hopefully he just killed them, but like if he had no food, he might have just done what he needed to do.
Right, like the Uruguayan soccer team.
Like we don't even know how long they've been in there. So and how long or how many people were actually in there doing this ritual.
So I mean, I guess if you really want to extrapolate it out that far, the possibility that Kano Agito resorted to cannibalism at one point in his life is not possible. but they don't make a point of telling you that he did or didn't.
Yeah.
So it's kind of up to you if you want to believe that about that character or not. They don't really tell you.
But then we get, like I said, we get to that goofy face, and basically Katahara was trying to get him every type of knowledge possible to keep basically humanized. Kind of after doing the goo, he's pretty much an animal, so he's trying to humanize him. But
he's
then
like feral, yeah,
and then
feral style almost.
Pretty much, yeah. And he was like basically, it comes out from time to time. He's like made in the bodyguard. He's like he made him a subtle fighting machine until it gets to a certain point.
And that's the formless style.
That's the formless style.
Yeah.
Because he started using it. He's using against he wasn't using formless at first. He was using the form, he was using a fighting style when he started becoming the Fang of Mitsudo. Or in his earlier days. He didn't use formless all the time. And he started using it against Kuroki. And they were going at it, but then the bodyguard was like, he's starting to lose it. Now he's going back to using the formless. And
was it Takayama?
Yeah, he started using formless after a while, and he just reverts back to it.
And he talks about Takayama's the first to bring it up, but I think Kuroki brings it up later. Is the major drawback to formless style is it reduces your reaction time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he switching because it's better.
To circumvent that weakness, he like constantly switches between formless and his more traditional style. And like when Kuroki goes for like a dragon's lance or something like that, he like just breaks his hand, or like he like breaks his hand or something like that because he immediately switches in between them.
Yeah,
and he keeps switching between martial arts and formless.
Yeah.
This is the first time we see either one of these characters sustain major damage.
So the way they were talking about it, it looked like Kuroki still, like the way he was fighting, you couldn't tell he had a major injury.
Not really.
Man. Because he thought he was like, oh, he took away his devil lance. He injured both his arms. He said, what do you have next? He punctured his freaking hand. He was like, the devil lance is not dead yet.
I still got my thumb.
He used his thumb for the devil lance. I said,
one thing that I thought was a really dope ass move that Kuroki used is at one point his shoulders dislocated, and uses the momentum of moving away from an attack from Kano, and uses the momentum to put his shoulder back into place. So his, I think it's his left arm.
Yeah.
He's now able to use the Devil Lance with his left arm again, because originally both of his Devil Lance attacks were nullified because his hands, like his fingers were broken on one hand and his whole arm was useless on the other.
But he was going ham. Yeah. Punches, elbows. He was using face palms.
I mean, he was working the Fang.
Oh, yeah, he was
in a way that I've not seen anyone do.
But
and then Agito goes for his dragon shot, and then you think it hits, and then it turns out that Kuroki completely shattered Agito's wrist by just grabbing it and twisting it.
Yeah, because there's another panel where we see like Agito kind of hold his arm up and is kind of looking at his wrist, just kind of like dangling there, and he's just like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, he messed up Kano's arm, and then we're pretty much getting close to the end of this match because after that, he's just like Kuroki's just outclassing him still. He's like, no, he's not injured. Kuroki, he's a match. Oh. And we got the backstory a little bit about how his training was. He was training with like monks. He was training with monks, and they showed the backstory of Kuroki. This was years ago. He was in a suit, and he came, and he was like something, and then he walks off, and the monks were like, "That man is strong beyond belief." And he did some type of ritual, like he was sitting in fire, and he made it past with no.
Yeah.
They hope Kuroki can find somebody to quench his thirst.
They talk about how he is a truly solitary person.
Yeah, that's how why the Kaiwan style is That's why he mastered. He trained by himself for.
Yeah.
I mean, everything in Kuroki's life is done by himself.
Like that's why the master that he is, and there was like the
Yeah.
only enemy is his self.
Yeah,
That's the only opponent is his
And
self.
to speak on his expertise as a martial artist, like he's so good at like recognizing the intervals in between his opponent's attacks. So like he starts doing major damage against Agito during this fight by hitting him right in the interval where he would like switch between his styles.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of in that same vein of Kuroki's like skill level is where we start to well, I think a lot of the fighters are talking and realizing like Kuroki's outclassing everybody in the building.
Kuroki's just dope. Like if I were to have a master, it would definitely have been Kuroki. Like if I were to have, he would train me. That's hell, Ryo. Even before the match, he was like, "Can I watch your fight?" And he was just like, "Yeah, closely."
He does say that. I think he says that right. Or, no, he doesn't say that right. Fight. It was the one. It was Way where he talks to Ryo and he's like, "I'm not your master, but you can watch my fights if you want."
I love the reaction.
Yeah.
It's interesting how he's such a like reluctant what's the word, like an idol to Rahito at this point, and he wants nothing to do with it, but Rahito's just persistent about it.
Yo, he gonna train,
whereas like Sekibashi took Haruo with him immediately, like Gensai's like, leave me alone,
I'm not trying body, leave me alone. So the ending for this fight pretty much, and the ending was surprising to everyone. Did you see the panel when they showed the fighters? I'd never seen Ryan look surprised, because you knew when they saw Ryan, he's like smiling or something, grin always. And I forgot a lot of parts he was talking shit throughout the fights to certain people, like, dumbass, that ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
Ryan's face. Yeah. When the end came up for this fight, Ryan's face, I never seen him make a face like that, because it's unbelievable what just happened.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
Like, so where he gets the blow, he says, "I'm the Fang of Mitsudo. I can't be beat." Kano and Kuroki just delivers that blow and knocks him out. And everybody's like,
Agito's like, I'm gonna get you back for this, and then like hits him so hard in the head, it's like his head explodes. Like right before that, like when he is about to go for the like winning rush, like one of my favorite panels in this entire series is where it looks like Kuroki is like a lion because he's like roaring and about to just destroy Agito.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was dope. Yes, I do remember that. Yes, this fight, because it was beyond Kano Agito to the Devil Lance.
Yeah, and I mean, we all kind of knew like eventually somebody was going to bring him down. I did not, because I don't pay attention to the bits. I'm just kind of surprised whenever I see who's coming up next. I'm like, damn, I did not think of Kuroki. I don't know why, but like that just wasn't what I was thinking was gonna happen.
Well, hell, like I said, it was like I think they said this before. Katahara was like, "I didn't think you make it this far," because Kuroki asked old boy to put him in the tournament.
Yes,
we're gonna learn. Yeah. So the next panel, Kuroki goes to the finals. It's Oma. And I'm not gonna lie, Oma's the main character, but I didn't think Oma would make it. But it's Oma. So.
And then here's to go back to that, because there's a lot of background information to give, and this is really important. So like you see Agito walking back, and like Metsudo's in the hallway, and he's about to apologize to him for losing. And Katahara is like, you don't have to worry about it. I'm the one that asked Kuroki to come to this tournament.
Yep. And he was surprised. Like he said, "I'm tired." Katahara was ready to retire. And I felt like he knew somebody could bring Agito, because if it was anybody else, I think he still would have lost. He would have won. He still would
Yeah,
have
if
won.
it was anybody else, he would have won.
But he knew Kuroki could beat him. Like he knew,
Yep.
and I pretty much after that he said, "You're resigning. We're resigning as the Fang and Mitsudo."
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah, he does. He resigns as the Fang Matsuda, which honestly I did not see coming. I really did not expect that when I got to that panel.
I was like, "Dang, he resigns!" Yo. So
the way that.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Oh, we're about to reach a huge, like a major spoiler for the series.
Yes, we are about to. Yeah, this next part. I mean, this whole's dark and full of spoilers, but this is off the map when it comes to spoilers.
Yeah.
If you plan on reading series, this is important enough that I would advise you to like mute it for like the next 5 minutes.
Yeah. So Oma's walking in the hallway, and then Oma's like, "Well, you just fought, and it looks like you took no damage." And you realize he's talking to Kuroki, and then he's like, "It's been 10 years since Nico passed, and like I owe it to you, his heir, to explain to you everything about who he is and like the Nico style in general."
So yes. So pretty much,
and this is where we meet the originator of the Nico style,
the basic,
Mukaku Gayo.
Yeah, Gao Mukaku. Yeah. Like this Gao Mukaku is essentially just like Japanese Batman that decided to like try to unite the inside and like try to turn it from this lawless land into like an actual like country. And like he just kept trying, and like he just kept getting older and older, and he is just like, all right, I'll just have to entrust it to the next generation.
Yeah, and at one point there's a panel in the manga you see where like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years,
they show scars
and his body is
just
dude's ripped because he was going through everybody. And then we learned that he got a disciple. He learned he got Nico, but he said not really.
No, he was like, Oma goes, which one of them? Well, he's like, he took on apprentices and to like teach them martial arts and stuff, and he's like, Oma's like, okay, which one of them was Nico?
All of them.
All of them.
So
all of them were Nico.
Yeah, this is some Dread Pirate Robert shit. Like if you've ever seen that movie, The Princess Bride, where like the mantle of a name is passed down. It's not one person; it's multiple people.
So this is
the same thing.
This is a lot of questions raised. When Omega, we're going to talk. It's going to be more. It's just how it's got the Nico style must have been popular because apparently he wanted to pretty much have the Justice League of Nico style trainees and pretty much take take over the inside. But then there was somebody who thought because he wanted to spread the name of Nico to fear. For everybody, like, yo, don't be fucking up. Nico's out here. And basically... But there was a lot of people out there that didn't wanted Nico dead. Mm-hmm. But which Nico? We don't know. We don't.
Yeah. And then you find out Gao took them to all the Nikos to that forest to teach them the secret technique. And one of the Nikos murdered all of the other ones.
Now, that's a mystery. We don't know how. We don't know who murdered him. We know about the real Nico. We don't know if the real Nico did it. We don't know if almost Nico did it. Hell, we don't know if some other Nico just went and said, fuck it, I'm killing all you. We don't know who killed all the Nikos, but we know all the Nikos got slaughtered. And then Gao Kaku disappeared. Yeah, I think for the sake of narrative, we can assume that either Oma's Nico or real Nico is the one who killed everyone else.
Yeah. One of them killed everybody.
Oh, and then we learned too that
Kuroki's master actually helped make the Nico style.
Yeah. So that's how it's related.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
and then here's another major plot point that we don't know an answer to yet. At some point, Kuroki's master had passed away, and he's just like still in the dojo training. And then Oma's Nico comes in, and he's like, I could tell how powerful this man was just by him being at this door front. And then all Oma's Nico says is, I need your help.
And that's it. We don't go. And then she was like, that's all I can tell you. And he was like, well, I'm glad. And Oma was just like relieved that I heard all that. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's
definitely a lot. That's a heavy thing to have going on your mind when you go into a fight with Kuroki that's going to be this serious, because now at this point it's only Oma and Gensai left.
So everybody's hyped. I like how all the other fighters, Sekibayashi, Saw Payne, Kyle, everybody was like, we go to the front row. This is the finals.
Yeah.
This is the final.
Oh my god. This like intro actually got me a little like misty-eyed when I first read it. Like it's super heartwarming. So like when Oma is on his way to his match, like Kazuo is like, why don't you keep me company for a little bit? And Kazuo is giving Oma a massage, and then he realizes like just how many like scars that Oma has, because he's been fighting for so long, and like he's just like, this is my price for fighting recklessly all these years. And he's like, you think he would be healthy because he's so in shape, but like you look at all the injuries on him, he's like the furthest thing from healthy.
Oh, and then Kazuo had in the next chapter, he was like, he went back to like he was young and he wanted to be strong.
Not that part. That's like a chapter before the fight ends, and then after he's done with the massage, he's like, I owe so much to you. Like you changed my life. And then Oma's like, thank you. I'm really happy you were my manager. He's like, I'll see you later. And he turns around, and then Kazuo just screams, my name is Yamashita Kazuo. And then Oma turns around, and then he remembers that was the way they first met. Oma asked him for his name, and then Oma smiles, and the panel is so heartwarming. He's like, I'm gonna ask you one more time. You want to fight too? And he's like, yes.
And he walks off. I said, Kengan has certain moments like that, and that's one of them. Yeah. That was definitely a heart. You can tell Kyle, out of character development, he has the most character development out of this.
Kazuo?
Yes.
I would agree.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Development for Kazuo from what he was starting out to now.
Because he's very he's like timid, generic Japanese businessman in the beginning. And now he's like full-fledged like spirit fighter. Because he can't physically do it, but like he has the drive and the will to stand behind Oma no matter what happens.
And he told him that. So we get to the fight. This fight was, they said the freaking stadium shaking
from how loud everyone was yelling.
Like this fight, this is it.
I think there's a scene, there's a panel in there where you see like everyone screaming and Sayaka's talking about how loud it is, and you just see Jerry Tyson covering his ears with his hands.
Yeah.
Fight. This is it. We finally made it. This is it. And almost like, but pretty much, and Hanafusa was like, this might be his last fight, because everybody was like, is Oma gonna be okay? And
yeah, it's like this might be his last fight.
And Oma did good. So even being injured as much as he was during this fight at this tournament. So the fight, pretty much Oma goes in. Doesn't Oma start out pretty much on the offensive?
Oh yeah,
from jump.
Oh yeah.
This is another case, and I've said it before. Oma throws everything he's got,
and this is Kuroki. He's he's on the verge of dying. Oh, and we learned
like at the beginning, Oma specifically uses this technique, this energy conservation technique called marionette, because at this point, Oma is dead on his feet.
Yeah, he doesn't have nothing left.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have nothing left. Pretty much it's the internal energy that's going to keep him on his feet. And he ended up fight for so long in this match. So the fight was just Oma trying to gain ground against Kuroki. Even though Kuroki's taking damage, he really hasn't taken damage.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that there's a panel in there that says specifically like no matter what Oma would throw, like there was no way he was going to break the wall that was Kuroki.
Yeah,
he wasn't broken, and he tried like.
Yeah,
I mean, he used every single technique the Nico style had to offer, and it just wasn't enough.
and a really interesting thing too is like all throughout this fight, Kuroki just sounds so heartbroken that he couldn't fight Oma when he was healthy.
He sounds very
Because
yeah.
because it seems like on some level, if Oma was healthy, I really think this fight could have gone either way.
True, with
I would agree with that.
Healthy Oma. Woo!
And so I think it's about halfway through the match when Oma realizes, like, okay, I'm gonna have to use it one last time.
And
to
control the output,
and he can use it with the Nico style.
Yeah, which he couldn't do before. We talked about episode 2 or 3. He can't. Up to this point, he cannot use the Nico style as formation that's necessary.
Yeah, because you gotta like the power.
Yeah, he loses his form.
Yeah,
so the Nico style is one of those ones like with martial arts where the style is the form is as important as anything else.
Yeah,
and so he's somehow learned to use it in conjunction with the advance. And I believe he does have a flashback to right before the match where he tells Kazuo, like, I'm going to use the advance. I know it's the only way to win. I know I shouldn't do it, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yep.
Yeah. He's like, I tried it out right before like I met up with you. So like I think I should be able to do it.
And that's what Kazuo, he's like, Cole, you've never done this before.
He's like,
in a
nah.
real situation. He's like, no, it'll be fine.
I'll be all right. I'll have to wing it. Just go. So as the fight,
and like even with the combination of the advance and the Nico style, it's still not enough.
No.
And like he catches Kuroki off guard a few times, but then Kuroki is immediately able to readjust.
Yeah, and I mean, I believe that the name of this last chapter is titled Outclassed.
Man, I feel bad.
For good reason, because I mean, Kuroki is just knees and shoulders above Oma and everyone else.
And
there's no
Oma tried to hold. He tried the Pisces binding.
The Pisces bind.
And then but then he gets devil lanced in the leg.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
And that's when he has to release the advance and Kuroki even says, he's like, you did the right thing. He's like, because if you you'd have bled out and died.
Yeah. And then like I love how like even despite he's like getting worked this badly, Kuroki's still complimenting him the entire way through. Mm-hmm. He's like, as far as your like redirection kata is concerned, you're stronger than Nico was in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is an interesting like character tonal shift with Gensai, is because up to this point, he really hasn't outwardly like talked about how seriously he takes his opponents. I think the Fang was one, and then Oma is the other one.
Yeah, he told Oma, he said, "Purifying foe, Oma Tokita. I can't underestimate you."
Yeah, and he says once more, he's like, "I really wish I could have fought you when you weren't injured."
God, that fight would have been Oma, and then we pretty much all the counters and everything else. Pretty much, Oma pulls out at the end. This is pretty much Oma pulls out Demon's Bane with the advance.
Advanced
demon. For like Kuroki hits Oma with like probably the most poignant quote I had ever read in like martial arts manga up to that point, because he's like, martial arts without like conviction is little more than violence.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he's like, if you're gonna choose your conviction for your martial arts, then at least let me kill you
and bury you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did say that.
Yeah.
And this fight, I think people, and then, and after that, it pretty much cuts to the next chapter, and then we don't see the ending because all we see is it says.
There's a super nice panel, like Oma takes a blow from Kuroki dead on, and it like warbles Oma so bad. He's like, "What was I even like doing?"
Oh
And
yeah.
then he hears Kazuo screaming for him, and then he snaps out of it. And then like that is my favorite panel in the entire series. And it's like he's like overcoming his despair. The man forms a fist once more, and that's like that was the tightest shit for me.
No, that shit was Oma game he had, and then it just goes to the. Oh yeah, I forgot. It does talk about. I forgot I skipped this. It when Kazuo was like in that chapter when he's like, I wanted to be strong as a kid, but I can never do that. And he said, there's people that can do it, and some people that have it. And then he was like,
this one right here.
Oh,
it is where Kazuo literally says, "Oma is the me that I always wanted to be." And never
the feels.
Yeah.
Out Daniel teared up. Like this fight had the feels.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that panel with Oma, like Kazuo screaming for Oma next to him, that's so nice.
Man. And then but the last part of it, when they get to say we have a winner, but we kind of knew what was gonna happen, and it just flashes back to the party, and then everything's done and over with, and then we get to see the end result. And it gets to like a certain part. It was like Okubo said something. And then Kyle Long, they were drinking. It was just the tournament is over. And then
party's over. Yeah, party's on. Even Katahara, or even Metsuda Katahara is now out of his robes, and he's in like a Hawaiian shirts and like Master Roshi, and he's dancing, and he's just like, oh, I think he's talking to like one of his secretaries or one of his body.
He's talking to Rin.
Yeah, and he's like, come on out here and dance with an old man, basically.
And basically, she was an undercover when she was undercover for Nogi to watch over Kazuo, and he didn't know that. No one did.
Yeah.
And then she decides she actually Mr. Nogi that she's going to stick with Yamashita. She's like, he's still kind of a dork. He's going to need some help. So I'm going to stick with him.
I'm glad. And then we go to other fighters, but then we get to the part where
there's another part that we forgot to mention that I think is kind of like cool. So like when Agito's watching Oma and Kuroki fight, he's like Oma, your Nico style is completely different from the one that I know. And then you see like a panel of young Kano with the real Nico.
Oh
yeah. And so like, do you remember when after Oma beat Ryan and like you see Kuroki go, you chose a good successor, Nico. And then you see Agito fuming. He's like, I see, so you're Nico's heir. And like now they're talking about two different Nico.
Yeah, two different people.
Yeah.
Dude, somehow I totally glossed over that,
and I forgot there's multiple Nico. So
because I was trying to finish this quick so that I would be ready in time, and I totally like my brain just deleted that completely. I'm glad he brought that up.
I forgot. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So
another thing that we see at this party is Takakaze and Nogi. Takakaze.
Oh yeah.
And he basically says, "Dude, you can have the chairmanship. I don't want it."
And Nogi was like, "What?"
Yeah, and he's like, I never wanted it. I never did. He's like, I have no desire to be anybody's chairman.
And he just wanted to be free and just do what he wanted to do. Because he's like, Kuroki came to me and said he wanted to be put in the tournament. And he said, Kuroki's a friend. He was like, I'm doing a favor for a friend.
Yeah. And do we know yet what Kuroki's motivation for getting in on this tournament was?
He just wanted to find an equal. He just wanted to see if there was somebody out there that could
match him,
that could challenge him. Because like the monk said, it's like he's so alone because there isn't anybody
who's
like that can challenge him.
That's what remember I said. He said the only person that can challenge him is himself. There's nobody that can challenge Kuroki. That's one reason why he's like a Ryu from Street Fighter. He seeks the stronger challenge. That's it.
So everyone's kind of wandering around and having a good time, and this is where we cut to what is this is again massive spoiler ahead. We cut to the forest.
Oh, before that, we get, this is still a major spoiler, we get a black box that just says Oma lost to Kuroki Gensai.
Yeah. And they show how that happened.
The Demon's Bane band, he showed him, but it wasn't enough. And
it wasn't enough.
He showed Kuroki's arm.
Yeah.
And it was but he said it couldn't reach.
Yeah. Kuroki's arm was in tatters from the Demon's Bane advance. Well, it still wasn't enough
to take him down.
He just took him out.
And that was it. But then we're getting to the tearjerker part.
Oh man, this part still gets me misty-eyed.
I believe I was specifically yelled at last week in searching for an episode or for a manga guide so I could keep my place. Spoiled this for me with their stupid related searches. Thanks a fuck ton, Google.
Oh no! So you got to see it now though. So it probably was even worse. So Eric Coswell was looking for Oma.
And
Coswell was looking for Oma, and then they found out that Oma had woken back up, and he's just like, I'm gonna go eat.
Yeah.
And so it cuts to Oma in the forest, and he's just like, ah man, I think this is it. And then the
tree.
Yeah, the ghost of Nico comes out and it's like, that's not bad. He was just one step away from beating Kuroki. And then Oma was like, the real you would be a lot harder on me than that.
Yeah, he's like, well, I'm just I'm just up in your imagination.
I was so sad, and he said, you did good, Oma. And that was heartwarming, because you know what's about to happen next. Because
Oma even says, I guess that means it's about time.
Yeah, and this is a culmination of several things they've been hinting at towards this entire series. When he first uses the advance way back against Sekibayashi, he's like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to take out alone. I know it's gonna catch up to me eventually. And it's Hanafusa saying like, man, his body's screwed. He doesn't have much longer.
And Oswald finally catch up to him and was like, Oma, there you go.
And he's talking to him. But Oma's not responding.
He's like, we might not see any of these people again. We'll go back to our lives. And then you just see, like, Kazuo starts shaking and you see tears streaming down his face. And then he just says, goodbye, Oma.
I'm finding the picture.
Oma is gone.
Yo, this will never, I'm showing y'all. This here, I was at the house and I got done reading it again and I almost started crying. That hurt my, and then I saw this.
And then I specifically love the eulogy that they give him is like, in the Kengan matches, there once was a man, they call it the Ashura. That man has just entered a long slumber. I was like, oh man.
The feels.
Yeah, that was rough. And even
though
it spoiled for me, I was not ready for just the kind of impact that was going to have. Because, we're at this point, especially you and, the three of us, we've done, almost 6-7 hours worth of content talking about just this one series. We're heavily invested in these characters, especially Oma.
That's what, oh my God. When I read that, I said, oh my God!
If you really want to get down into deep subtext, Oma Kazuo Yamashita basically just lost one of his sons. For all intents and purposes, that's what just happened.
Oh my God! His face, and then Oma. I damn near low-key cried. I'm a grown-ass man, and I was about to cry. I was sitting in my chair, and I read it before, and it hit. Tim knows now too that he kind of. It's like when you watch.
We won't talk about the Omega stuff yet, though. We won't talk about Omega.
Oh no,
we're almost at the 2 hour mark.
We're definitely gonna have to wrap this up. So, do you want to So do you want to? Because he hasn't read it. He didn't read it, Everett.
The last chapter. So
house to record right before I was finished.
I was like,
the last chapter is really interesting. It's just everybody paying their respects to Oma, like they're coming to visit his
grave,
his grave and all of that. And then Kazuo finally leaves his company and he starts his own business. And then Kaide and Rin are his secretaries. And he's like, Oma, I promise you I'm gonna change the Kengan Association for the better. And then it's like a black panel, and then it cuts to Hong Kong, and there's 3 people at a table. Like, it's like, did you hear that Oma died? Like, Tokyo Oma died, and it's like, I guess he wasn't a tiger's vessel after all. And then there's a dude in a cloak. He's like, I guess that means I'm the last person that can use the Nico style now. He's like, I'm the only tiger's vessel we need.
And then they show Long Mean and Rango
are dead.
Oh yeah, Long Mean and Rango are dead.
Yes, Long Mean, because you mentioned it was like it was. Oh, so we found out Setsuna Kiryu was locked up, but he escaped.
Yeah, he got out.
We don't know where.
And that's when Long Mean and Rango got murdered, was during the escape. But
so one of the people at the table killed Rango, and then the tiger's vessel killed Long Mean.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there's another dude at the table, this big burly dude that's wearing sunglasses, and then you get a little glimpse of his eye, and he has eyes like the Kure clan.
No shit.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm off the map here.
And then all it says too, like that was the dopest cliffhanger. It said evil is still around or something like evil's
on the move.
I said, yo!
And it said Kengan ASHURA Part 1 Fin. Or like something like that.
Now we're going into Kengan Omega, and that'll be our next.
We'll talk about the finale too, like pretty much. Like real quick, we'll talk about because they showed about all the fighters and all the fighters that were doing. Kano left. Kano went on the road.
With the motorcycle, and he's like, I always wanted to ride one of these.
And then the one bodyguard, Toka, the one who fucked up the one with the mask on his face, he said,
Takayama.
And he mentions too, he's like, there's still stuff going on here. So we'll protect Mr. Katahara still. He said, go find yourself. He said he said, I always wanted, he's like, I need to go see the world with the world. I was like, that was heartwarming too, to see him, Kano, do something like that. They
humanized him really well over the course of the series.
Yes.
It's not constant, but there are little moments where you really see Kano Agito as not just some sort of monstrous killing machine. Like he really is a person who... Go ahead.
There's a major part of the last chapter that I forgot, is that Kenzo is like, I want a meeting with Bondo, like Bondo Yohei. I need to talk to him.
When we get to Omega, matter of fact, you start reading Omega this week. We'll get back on the next. Read the 30 chapters. Read up to chapter 1 to 30, and then you'll get, because it's going to talk about. You got to hear about the worm. So.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. We've heard the worm mentioned now.
So
hopefully they'll explain what that is.
Oh no, you'll when you tell Omega. I'm not gonna lie. I'm liking Omega more than regular Kengan because Omega.
Yeah. Well, and see, I was telling you before we started recording, like I'm watching Yu Yu Hakusho. I'm watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I'm trying to read Baccano right now.
I'm gonna have to find Baccano. Watch that too.
Baccano, again, the DVDs are out of print. I have not been able to locate one. And if you can find them, they're like on DVDs that are not playable in the US, like Region 2, like the UK and Australia.
Yeah.
So they're out of print here, but I did find the manga on one of our apps right before you showed up.
Yeah. So like every chapter, like every volume of Kengan ASHURA has like these little 4-panel theaters that they do that
Mhm.
also like flesh out the characters a little bit too and put them in different like funny situations. The
Yeah.
last omake is like actually kind of really sad. It's just called Oma, and like it's just like Kazuo talking to Oma, and he just smiles, turns, and walks off. And then like right next to it is just Oma walking off into the light.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Kengan,
I did see that.
the writer for Kengan, I love this series. I'm telling you, man, I can't. And then when you get to Ria and Omega, they had me shitty. They didn't have about the new chapter this week. I was waiting for that shit.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, and I hit up Everett. I said, no chapter? I said, nope. I said, these raggedy,
Yeah.
raggedy motherfuckers.
Yabako Sandrovich is the writer of Kengan.
Well, that man.
Yeah. And Daromeon is the artist, and Daromeon like will do like lives, like where he'll like stream, take questions. You can ask him questions in English too because he can actually speak English pretty well.
Yo.
So like,
Yeah.
as you know, again, I didn't really start appreciating anime until I was a little older, but like,
Yeah.
I've got like 2 major ones nailed down that I really like, and that's Junji Ito and Satoshi Kon, who did
Yeah.
Paranoia Agent and Perfect Blue and Paprika.
Yeah.
I love both of their like art styles, and then I think Sandrovich is another one that I'm just really coming around to.
Like Kengan's. Ooh, I can't. I'm just ready for you to. Now we get to Sonny say you get to read Omega.
Yeah.
I'm happy to read it over again. Like you're gonna have so many questions.
That and like right now, I don't even think there are 90 chapters out for it.
Oh my god! Like,
Oh yeah, so we're going to be basically covering it as it comes out. It feels like.
Yeah.
We can do an episode each week. Like we'll do a episode and we'll just do each. Like we'll do because like I said, we'll do like we do it for Kengan now. I'll have you read 30, and then we'll just go from there.
Cool.
You're gonna have a lot of like. It's not even gonna be like fighting in the beginning. It's gonna be a lot of lore and questions. Like, well, what?
Yeah.
Which we desperately needed. There is a lot because again, like the Kengan Annihilation tournament just takes off. It like hits the ground running, and there's not a lot of room for exposition. So like, I would appreciate that.
Oh no, it was when the main character, man. When you read it, you can be like, bro, what the fuck is this?
So Tim, have you heard of How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift?
No.
That's another series that Sandrovich like writes for.
Okay.
And like so Carla's mom is a teacher in that series, and like there have been a bunch of Kengan characters that have appeared in How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift. And there's a really funny like side chapter where Oma is in an eating contest with the main character, and he actually loses.
That does not surprise me in the least. But yeah, is that gonna do it for us?
That is gonna do it. Yeah. We were over the mark, but we had a lot to cover.
We marathon today.
We had to cover it.
I really thought we were gonna be able to do it in 90 minutes.
Hell,
we couldn't do it.
It was too much.
We finished though. We wrapped it up.
We crossed the finish line barely.
If you think he should read Zero for the side character, like some of the Kengan characters? I said there was some Kengan characters that had. There's a particular one he should read. A particular story, like they show Cosmo, Wakitsuki, Hanafusa,
and Katahara and Ariel. So you can do this in your free time. It's called Kengan ASHURA Zero. It's basically just backstories for a few characters.
Yeah.
Katahara
and Raya was the most interesting one though.
Okay.
That's why it threw me off because when I read it, I said, I was like, who the fuck is this? And I just wasn't getting who it was because they'll show certain characters. But then they show who it was, and I'm like, oh. So yeah, if you want to read that and talk about it a little bit next time, but start reading Omega, and we will get back on this next week for Omega.
Cool.
Yep.
So hey man, thanks again, Everett.
Yeah, dude.
No problem.
Thanks again, brother. I was like, Everett, I was like, I gotta get you on here, and I got you on here. Omega's gonna be amazing when we talk about Omega.
Yeah.
God. Ooh, I can't wait to go back and read Omega again, 30 chapters. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Oh, but
I don't mind either.
Oh God, I can't wait till he get caught. I'm just so hyped. So, hey, y'all, thanks again for tuning in. This was a long one. Like, share, subscribe, comment to the page. Just an Anime Podcast. Look it up on YouTube on there. And I got a Facebook page, Just an Anime.
We'll all be sharing it.
Right on. Share this, man. Like I said, if you want to read it and you, like I said, you didn't want to hear about it, go ahead and read Kengan. It's a great series.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, we're just three dudes. Like, we are just talking about this. Like, you cannot get the full impact without
man.
Yeah.
really diving into the
source
material.
You have to see this. And like I said, they got the sequel, Read Omega, and said I'll be still when I get my computer back. I'm just doing these for now, y'all. Like I said, once I get my own computer, I'll be going back to do the Thursday stuff. Like I said, I gotta finish the Yu Hakusho review. Maybe Tim can jump on that with me, because
don't do that to me.
you gotta do the review. Well, I'll do the review with you again. I'm doing it with somebody else, but you get the part 3, part 4. But yeah, man, thanks again, y'all, for tuning in. And y'all have a good one. Tune in next week, 2 p.m. same time. We'll be starting Kengan ASHURA Omega. That will be spoilers. So if you haven't read a regular Kengan, don't watch this.
Yeah.
So spoiler central. Hey man, y'all have a good one.
I need more whiskey.
Oh, more whiskey for God bless. Peace and chicken grease.